We are up to the last lesson in the formula, the conclusion. Now, if you've been following me, I think you can see that because I stress the one compelling point in the beginning of the talk, the conclusion doesn't carry quite as much weight as necessary. And that's for a reason. The reason is, I think that if you get your audience to buy in to the one compelling point, you inform them what it is, and you get them to subscribe to it, then they can begin to fold all your additional modular content units in, and they can think, oh, that makes sense because I know where we're going. And then, if you run out of time, or if you get interrupted, and you don't get all your content in, and maybe you don't even have time for the conclusion, it's all right. Because the whole talk is a circle. From the beginning, you forecast where you're going at the end. And the only way you've been able to do that is by knowing at the end where you are and building that to the beginning, building it into the review of the structure and building it into the one compelling point. But nevertheless, all talks conclude. And if you've done things right and weighed your time out, counted things out so everything makes sense, then you'll get to a conclusion. And your conclusion should have, and you know this, 3 points. It should have a summary, a place where you say, in sum, I've covered, and then you lay out the things you've covered. Or you can say, in conclusion, this talk has been about. And then after that, it should have a discussion. And the discussion is important because what would be ideal is that you give your audience something to think about. Something so, if there's a Q&A session, a listener could ask the question, pursue that question. And if you were smart, you seed into the discussion the questions you want to pursue. But maybe there's not a Q&A period. Maybe you just like to have your audience think about something. Maybe when they drive home, they're still thinking about it. And that's good because they're thinking about your points and your talk. Lastly, you have to thank your audience. They've suffered through your talk, and you need to thank them for doing so. That closes the loop and closes out the community. If there's any trick to a conclusion, it's sincerity. This may sound like a bit of a lie, but if you can sound really sincere when you pose those discussion questions, then you can really win your audience over. Because all of a sudden they feel like they've been a part of the central issues from the start. I'll tell you, here at the University of Colorado Boulder, there is a truly great teacher. He's just retired and he's still teaching a few classes. He's probably the best and the most popular teacher I've ever met. And I've sat in on a lot of his courses in order to learn his techniques. And what I have learned is that even if he teaches the same thing over and over and over, he asks questions with a sincerity that makes you believe this is the first time he's ever taught this. So, I leave you with this notion of sincerity. It's part of the whole relationship of welcoming, of warmth, of generosity, of trust, and ultimately of authority. If you are sincere and you deliver your points with sincerity, no matter how many times you've delivered them before, you will build your audience not against you, but with you. They will suddenly become a part of your presentation and a part of your mission. They will go beyond as members of your community. They will go beyond you, and they will deliver your talk beyond your voice.